Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we are diving into something that I think is a real game changer, building your very own personal AI engine. And look, this isn't about replacing you, it's about creating a system that takes your professional skills and just supercharges them.
But first, let me just ask you this. What if you could take a huge chunk of your manual, day-to-day work, the stuff that usually takes a couple of hours, and just crush it down into a tiny fraction of that time?
Yeah, we're talking about just 15 minutes. Seriously, this isn't some sci-fi fantasy. This is what's possible right now when you combine your unique expertise with some really smart automation. This is kind of the new standard for being efficient.
Okay, so what does this actually look like in the real world? Let's break down an actual example for, say, a business development manager. We're going to see how we can go from a brand new lead hitting their inbox to a complete, ready-to-send proposal.
And I mean, just look at the difference here. On the left, you've got the old way, a total slug. Hours of research, drafting, copy-pasting, ugh. But on the right, that's the new way. It's one single action. Review and send. That's it. The game has totally changed.
So what's going on behind the curtain? Well, the second a new lead's email comes in, this system just springs into action. It instantly cooks up a personalized proposal, drafts a response email, gets all the meeting prep materials ready, schedules the automated follow-ups, and it enriches the contact profile in the CRM. The manager just has to give it a final once-over.
All right, so that's the what, and it's pretty incredible, right? But now for the big question, how does it all work? Let's peel back the layers and look at the core components that are making all this magic happen.
So this whole system is actually built on three main tools that you can get right off the shelf. First, you've got an orchestrator, something like Make.com. Think of it like the conductor of an orchestra telling all your apps what to do. Second, you need a central hub, a memory. In this case, Notion. And third, you need the brains of the operation, an AI model like Google's Gemini.
You know, a really good way to think about this is like a digital nervous system. Meg.com, that's your spinal cord, shooting signals back and forth between everything. Notion is your long-term memory, where all your knowledge and history is stored. And Gemini AI, well, that's the brain itself, doing all the heavy lifting and the thinking.
So let's see how all these pieces really connect. The data actually flows through a really simple three-layer system. Let's follow a piece of information on its journey from the very beginning all the way to a useful result.
It all starts at the input layer, where we grab the data. Then it zips over to the brain layer, where it all gets analyzed. And finally, it ends up at the action layer, where the system actually does something.
Now, the input layer can be triggered by pretty much anything. It could be a new email, a transcript from a tool like fireflies.ai, a photo you snap of a product, or even your highlights from articles and books. The whole point is to get all that raw data flowing into one place. This is where Gemini, the AI brain, steps in. It's basically an analyst. It reads the input, figures out what the person wants, and pulls out all the important bits of info. It can even be told to scrub out any sensitive personal data. But here's the most important part. It queries your personal proprietary knowledge base. There's actually a name for this technique. It's called Retrieval Augmented Generation, or RAG for short. All it really means is that the AI isn't just making stuff up based on the whole internet. No, it's specifically looking inside your private notes, your documents, to find the real answer. This is the secret sauce, right here. It makes the AI feel less like a generic chatbot and more like an assistant that actually gets you.
And that brings us to the payoff, the action layer. After the brain has figured everything out, the system gets to work. It builds that proposal. It writes that email. It updates the CRM. It schedules the follow-ups, and it pings the right people on the team. It turns messy information into clean, valuable results.
Okay, now we're at what I think is the most important part of this whole conversation. The tools we just talked about, Make, Notion, Gemini. Look, anybody can go get those. So where's the real advantage? Well, it comes from the one thing that only you have. It's your data. It's your knowledge. It's all your unique experience from your career turned into frameworks, notes, and case studies. That is your unfair advantage. That's your moat that no one else can cross. The AI is an amazing tool, but it's nothing without your expertise telling it what to do.
Let's make this real with a few examples. For that BD manager, their moat is a personal library of 52 business frameworks they've collected. For a top sales consultant, maybe it's a deep dive database of every single Harley-Davidson spec imaginable. For a career coach, it could be a library built from 100 books on physiology. Each one is leveraging their unique data to create an edge nobody can copy.
So where is all this heading? What does this mean for how we work? Well, it's creating a whole new type of professional, someone who blends their deep human expertise with the incredible amplification power of AI.
Let's call this person the augmented professional. This isn't just someone who knows how to use a few AI tools. This is an expert who purposefully engineers a system around their own knowledge base. They use it to automate the boring stuff, discover new insights, and free themselves up to focus on their most valuable, unique skills. It really is about working smarter, not harder.
So I'll leave you with this final thought. Everything you've ever learned, every note you've ever taken, every framework you've ever built throughout your career, that's not just expertise, it's your most valuable data set. The technology to unlock its power is here, today. So the only real question left is, how are you going to augment it?